Suzanne speaking. How may I help you?
Hi, Suzanne. I'm calling to vent about a circumstance that I find myself in. Who can I talk to about feelings that I'm having?
You've called the right place, so you definitely can talk to me about whatever issues you're facing. But before we begin, I just want to let you know that I am going to put you on speakerphone because it'll make the conversation run a little bit more smoothly. I also would like you to know that there is no one in the room currently right now other than me, and there'll be no one listening to the conversation. I'd also like you to know that anything you do disclose to me here is going to be private and confidential with a few exceptions. If there's a court order, if there's any immediate harm to self or others, those are situations where I would have to say something. Is that okay with you?
That is okay.
Okay, great. All right, so if you just wanted to let me know how exactly I can help you today, what situations that you're facing that I could be of assistance.
So my wife is suing me for full custody of my kids, and I can't stand the thought of her taking them. I honestly would go crazy without them. They're my life. I'm thinking about taking them back to my home country secretly so she can't get to them. This is obviously a last-ditch plan, but I really don't care at this point. She is crazy, and she's ruining my life. And I love my kids too much to leave them with her, so I just don't know what to do. I need to talk to somebody. I'm going through a lot, and I find myself doing things that I didn't do before, and I don't want to risk the safety of anybody around me.
Okay. I do definitely hear what you are saying. That could definitely be a frustrating situation. Divorce is a very emotional time in a person's life and can pose many challenges, especially when there are children involved. So what sparked this idea in your mind that you would want to go back home with your children without the consent of your wife?
I just feel as though my support system back home is a lot more than here. I immigrated here a couple of years ago, and my family and friends are all back home. I don't really have anybody here. I came here with my wife, and now that we're separated, she wants to take the kids, and the system here is so biased. They are going to lean in her favor. So if she goes through the court system, I'm out of luck. So my only route of keeping my children by my side is by doing this secretly. I feel as though if I go back home and I have the support of my family and friends, I can overcome these issues that I'm feeling. Lately I've been feeling so depressed. I don't have friends and family here that I can talk to. I feel as though my wife is out to get me. I just want to be happy with my children. My parents are back home, my friends and family. If I'm surrounded by happy people, I feel like I can be happy again. I feel depressed, and it's sad.
Okay. I can definitely tell that, this is a very difficult situation for you to deal with, for anyone to deal with that matter. And I just want to thank you so much for calling in and expressing these feelings before you decided to go ahead with your plan. So I don't know what I should say next now. So I know that you said that you feel that the court system is biased in favor of women being with their children. I just want to let you know that, it isn't always the case that the mother does get the children. You just have to work hard to prove that, you definitely are a fit parent. And also, having full custody of the children, maybe even you could discuss with your lawyer about having shared custody. That would be probably easier for you and easier for the children because you would still get to see them on a regular basis.
Growing up, a lot of my friends around me, their parents were divorced. In almost all situations, the mother always got custody of the children when it went through the court system. So because of my past experiences, this is what's been embedded into my mind. So I don't feel like going through the court system would benefit me in any way. I'd rather risk life in prison than losing custody of my children. I don't care if it's totally illegal taking them back home to my country secretly so she can't get to them. I just don't want to go through the court system because of things that I've seen and experienced in the past.
I do understand your concerns of going through the court system, but as I had stated earlier, you would still be able to see your children. There are other options that you can take care of, and also, I did hear that you said that you would rather risk life in prison. Your children wouldn't be able to see you that way. You wouldn't be able to interact with them and have those experiences that I know it sounds like you would want to have with them. So maybe your best bet would be to just go through the court system. At least that way you would be provided some sort of visitation or anything like that.
I feel as though if she gets custody of the kids, my depression level is just going to go so much higher. I already feel so depressed, and I'm abusing alcohol so much more than I did before.
With that, your best bet is to start looking into some healthy coping mechanisms. I know that you just said that you have been drinking lately. Would you say that you're a normal drinker, or has it gotten worse since the situation with your wife?
I think the situation with my wife and children has made me abuse alcohol a lot more often than I did before. I used to have a casual drink every so often, and now I find myself turning to alcohol to cope with the situation because it numbs the pain, and it kind of takes me out of the reality of the situation temporarily, and really I'll take whatever I can get right now, even if it's alcohol or any kind of drug.
Okay, I'm just going to go through a series of questions with you that will help me assess where you are at emotionally and mentally. Is that something you'd be okay doing?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Have you ever awakened in the morning after drinking and found that you couldn't remember all or part of the evening?
That has happened a couple of times ever since this situation arose.
Okay. Do any of your friends or relatives worry or complain about your drinking?
No one really knows about it because I don't have much of a support system here, and I don't want to call back home and worry them about the situation too much. So no, I would say at this moment nobody really knows.
Do you think you could stop drinking without any difficulty after one or two drinks, or do you keep going?
It really depends on the way that I feel that night. Sometimes it hits me a lot harder than others. Sometimes I can stop myself, but at other times I feel as though I want to keep consuming until I am completely numb.
Do you ever feel guilty about your drinking?
I do, because I know that it's not healthy. I know that it's not the right route to take. I want the best life for my kids, but it's so hard because I feel so lonely. I don't have a support system, so I'm trying to do whatever I can to cope with it without taking it out on any of my children.
Okay. Have you ever attended any Alcoholics Anonymous meetings?
No, I have not.
Okay. That's something we can discuss a little bit later on if you are interested in it.
Okay.
Have you ever gotten into any physical altercations while drinking?
No.
Has your drinking ever created problems between you and a relative or a friend?
No, other than my wife. She abused alcohol quite a bit, and that was part of the reason why, a small part of the reason why I don't want her to have custody of of our children. So I feel as though past traumatic incidents with her have made me abuse alcohol myself.
Okay. Has any other family member or close friend... Sorry, 1 second.
No problem. Do you mind if I have a drink of water?
No problem. Go ahead. Do whatever you need to do to relax. Maybe take a couple of deep breaths. I can understand that this can be a very stressful conversation and situation.
Thank you.
Has any family member or close friend gone to anyone you've known about help for your drinking?
No.
Okay. Have you ever lost friends because of your drinking?
This is just a recent circumstance that I'm finding myself
Okay.
in. So no, like I said, most of my family and friends are back home, and I don't want to stress them out by telling them about how I'm coping.
Has your drinking ever affected your work life?
Not before, when I used to drink casually, it didn't affect my life at all, but recently, sometimes I find myself really draggy the next day, so it does affect my capability of performing at work.
Okay. And because you have said this was recent, so have you ever lost a job because of drinking, or would that be a no?
No.
Okay, that's good. Have you ever neglected your obligations to your family, like maybe your children, for more than a few days because of your drinking?
No, my kids are my number one priority, and that is part of the reason why I'm thinking about taking them back home, because I feel like it would be best for everybody. I would stop abusing the alcohol. I wouldn't have these thoughts about depression. My wife can get on with her life.
Okay. How often do you drink before noon?
I would say maybe once or twice a week.
Okay. Have you ever been told you have liver trouble, such as Crohn's?
No.
Have you ever had any sort of symptoms of, I guess, hallucinations after drinking, like seeing or hearing things after drinking heavily?
No.
Okay. Have you ever gone to anyone for help about your drinking?
No.
Have you ever been hospitalized for drinking too much?
No.
Has your drinking ever resulted in you being hospitalized or put into a psych ward?
No.
Have you ever gone to a doctor, social worker, or a mental health clinic for any problems related to your drinking?
No.
Okay. Have you ever been arrested more than once for driving under the influence of alcohol?
No.
Have you ever been arrested or detained by an official for a few hours because of your behavior while drinking?
No.
Okay. Okay, so thank you so much for answering those questions for me. It'll help me get a handle on what kind of interventions would be best to help with your drinking situation. You did state that it was a recent development, so I think it's best if we get a handle on this as soon as possible, because even just being, the best kind of role model for your children, and even helping you to be able to get custody of your children, it's best if you limit your current drinking behaviors to just casual drinking, just for your overall health situation. So some interventions that might be good that I was thinking of would maybe be an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, some AA meetings in the area might be good for you to attend. Do you think that's something you might be interested in?
Yeah, I would be interested in that. I'm just more worried about my children more than I am about myself.
Okay. Well, you can't serve from an empty dish, so you have to make sure that you are as healthy as you possibly can be in order to be there for your children. So I think you should try going to these meetings, see if you like them. You can also do Al-Anon Family Group, and they have a good support system for people in your situation who have either struggled with drinking or had someone in their life who had a problem drinking issue, like you were saying your wife had issues with drinking. So that would be really great for you to attend. You can talk about some of those situations and what you're going through in a group setting, and make connections and a support system for yourself. Is that something that you think you might be interested in?
Yeah, most definitely. I would like some more information after this phone call about that.
Okay,
I can always
perfect.
pop by and collect that information.
Okay, I've also noticed that you said that you were feeling depressed, so that you had feelings of depression, and that your situation with your wife may have led to that. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. When dealing with your situation, have you ever thought about potentially taking your own life, or that the situation might be better off if you were no longer around?
No, I am depressed, but I don't want to take my own life. I just want to be able to provide a good life for my children away from my wife. I don't think that my kids are my number one priority, and I don't think that being with my wife, my children being with my wife, or my ex-wife, I should say, is in their best interest, and that's why I'm thinking about taking them back to their home, back to my home country. I wouldn't want to take my life away because I do want to go grow with my children. I want to see them grow up, so I wouldn't say that any thoughts of suicide per se. I do feel depressed often just because of the circumstances, and I know that the plan that I do want to implement is totally illegal, but I don't see any other way of being able to have a future with my children in a happy environment.
I just want you to know that your plan does jeopardize your future with your children. Taking them out of the country without permission of your wife could be a very dangerous situation for yourself and very traumatizing for your children. I know you stated that in the past you did have a lot of friends who were from divorced families. So, and you saw how that affected them. Do you think that taking your children away from your wife without any chance of seeing her would cause maybe the same trauma that some of your friends had gone through in the past?
Yeah, I guess if you look at it from that perspective, you're right, but you could say that my thought process is quite narrow right now, and I have the support from my family back home to come. They're encouraging me to bring my children, and that they would help me assist in taking care of them, and really, I don't think anyone would know where I'm going, and my wife, I hate her.
I can definitely understand how you can be frustrated with your wife, especially at a time like this, but you just have to stay focused on your main goal, which is being with your children. So what I'd like you to do is maybe every morning write out an affirmation about your children, about the kind of life that you would like to provide for them, the kind of life that you would like to have, because at the end of the day, if the situation of taking your children outside of the country ends up in the worst possible scenario with you potentially in jail for kidnapping, and your wife, who you have mentioned has a drinking problem, that wouldn't be good for the children either.
Yeah, I guess if you explain it to me that way, you're right. I mean, this was a last-ditch plan for me, but if there is a way that I can get around the bias system and just have my kids at the end of the day, that's really all I want. I only really care about the end result. I'll do anything and everything to be with my children, as long as my wife doesn't stop that, I guess. I just want my kids.
Yeah, I can definitely understand the situation. It does seem very tumultuous, but you just have to believe in yourself and stay strong. You've already taken the first step by contacting us here and letting us know what you are thinking about doing, and also letting us know about your potential issue with alcohol, so we can provide you with those resources as we stated earlier in the conversation for you to attend.
Okay.
Was there anything else that you wanted to discuss today?
No, I think that's all. I would like to collect that information. If you could maybe just email me your location of where I can get the information for these resources, and I can take it from there. I really appreciate all the information that you provided with me today, and for walking me through how to get help.
No problem. If this issue comes up again in your mind, or if you find that you're still struggling with drinking, or if you're still struggling with your feelings of depression, you can always give us a call at any time. We are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I'll definitely email you that information, okay?
Perfect. Thank you so
All
much
right.
for spending the time with me today.
No problem. Try to keep your spirits up.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.